This podcast is quite literally going to be my Michael Jordan flu game. Uh, we're gonna get through it. In all transparency, I don't feel great. I've got a daycare kid at the house. So, bro, when I tell you I was in college and I thought I was like immune to everything, I was like, man, I'm not. Nothing gets me sick. I must have a really good immune system. No, I was just good at avoiding people that sneeze directly into your mouth. And I know that's a meme, but that's like an actual thing that happens.
Well, it's crazy too because I mean we say all the time, but I mean I remember with drinking how when you're in college, that 18 to 22 time and you can just you're out all night,
Yep.
you can drink, you can recover more importantly the
Yep.
next day and just bounce right back and get on your feet. Like it is crazy how quickly just your prime fades, I guess. Like it was
Goes to
already
hell.
like that backslides into the 20s. But you're right. I mean, it's with everything with me. I mean, as you know, I'm 33 now, you're 32. And I mean, it's the if you don't sleep, it adds up. It's
Yep.
the if I mean now I've got the coffee addiction too. So it's like I
Oh
pick
yeah.
that up. If I don't have the first cup, I start getting a
Not even
headache.
that. Not even that because Quinn. So here's my new problem. Now we're getting way off topic, but someone on YouTube said we are the most underrated NBA podcast, and I believe
Oh,
this is
shout out to
why.
them. Hell yeah. I appreciate it.
I believe this kind of content is exactly why.
I'm gonna go
Uh,
find that comment. I want to give that person an
or
actual real shout out.
or they're gonna hate this and take back their comment. But either way, um, because Quinn's been waking up so early, my
Right.
body is used to drinking coffee at like 5 in the morning.
Mhm.
So like the other day, Nicole was home and she's like, "Oh yeah, you can sleep in. Like you get her every weekday. Like you can sleep in." And so I slept in till 9, and I woke up and I thought I was dying because I had the worst caffeine headache I've had in a long time. And
Oh.
my body is so used to getting it at 5 a.m. that I woke up and I was like, "Oh, oh, what is going on?" And coffee was totally fine. I was like, "Oh, you know what?" I was like, "Nicole, I guess I can't sleep in anymore because now I have a coffee addiction even worse than I thought it was." And then
Oh,
she's like, "You need help."
so I don't yeah, actually, so I don't think I'm at that point.
Yeah.
Thankfully, mercifully, I have not reached the point where if I'm sleeping, it's still helpful.
I'm trying to wean myself off because in all transparency, this is gonna be gross. I'm probably like 4 coffees a day right now.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'm really trying to get back to, like, 1, wake up, have 1 decent sized cup, maybe a 16 ounce or 20 ounce or whatever, but getting back down is tough, man. It's not easy, so we're hoping we can get there, but,
I
um,
I
we'll
mean,
find out.
I do now that we are really off topic, and I also just am cracking up at this comment. The person on YouTube who said we were the most underrated NBA podcast, and shout out to you sincerely, but it's at the Monkey Buttster.
But
Um,
okay.
I don't know what that says about us, but
Yep.
either way, we appreciate you tuning in. You can always watch the podcast on YouTube. Just search Driving Dish NBA podcast. But
Well,
that
and
is,
and like we said, there will be a video version for the Immaculate Grid side of things
yeah,
that we do at the end of episodes. That's kind of where the video becomes more of an important play, which we'll do our best to describe it on the podcast, but there will be video of it.
I have been good about limiting myself to I'm a 2 cup absolute emergency. Like I'm struggling. I got to be up late. I'm on a long drive somewhere, whatever it may be. I get to 3, and I got to give. And this is going to sound backhanded, but you know him. But shout out to my guy Jeremy Ratliff. When we worked morning show, Jeremy would come in, and it would be 3 in the morning. And God bless him, this man would have like 4 or 5 cups of coffee by the time we would rock at 5 in the morning.
Oof.
And look, he appreciates good coffee. I trust his coffee opinions, but I
Sure.
said to myself, I love and look, I love this guy. I don't ever want to be like that with
No,
coffee. Like ever.
that's
I
a
can't
lot.
do that. Like I'm worried about giving myself a heart attack at that point.
Yeah, and that's what's always freaked me out, right? Like I kind of got not saying I got tricked. Um, Obviously with the radio station, I have an endorsement with Celsius, which is very strong caffeinated drinks.
Oh yeah, Celsius kicks, dude.
Yeah. So like we just have it at the ready in this building whenever we are feeling a little tired.
That's dangerous. Yeah.
Yeah. So like
That's kind of dope though, honestly. Like I wish if I had a free
it's
plug,
a
I'd be on it too
it,
much, but
it's a bit of a flex a little bit.
a little
But
bit.
like the problem with that is I was doing that And it got to a point where, like, I would drink coffee and I wouldn't feel anything.
Yeah, because what
And so
Celsius
then
got like 200 plus milligrams in it, right?
hold on, I will find out right now because 'cause I'm drinking one.
So by the way, Celsius, if you want to sponsor the podcast, you sponsor Justin enough in Jacksonville. If you want to sponsor this too, by all means.
Yeah, caffeine content, 200 milligrams.
Yeah, that's a lot. I mean, an average cup of coffee, I think a shot of espresso is 60. And
It's
most cups, like if you get at Starbucks, but even when I make them at home, like I usually put 2 shots of espresso in mine. So like
yeah.
that's 120, but like, yeah, there's a big difference between 120 and 220 if you
Oh,
start,
yeah.
downing them like
Well,
that.
and at least it's not I justify it in my head that it's not the murder lemonade from Panera Bread.
Yo, that was crazy. I can't believe that one woman never thought she drank caffeine and she was slugging like 400
Oh
milligrams
my
a
god.
day. And look, I don't know. I mean,
I saw someone
they said it
post
was supercharged, I guess. Like it wasn't deceptive products or anything, but it is kind of one of those things where it's like, yo, how did no one warn anybody?
well, and I saw someone post a picture of the electric lemonade
Oh, with Tito's and so it was OG4 Loco.
yeah.
Listen, again, we're dating ourselves here a little bit. You were alive during the OG4 Loco, and you were in college during that period, like I was.
Oh,
That
yeah.
was truly a different era, and I
Yeah.
understand why it was banned.
There is a story that I'm pretty sure I can't share the full story of because of statute of limitations and shit.
Just redact everybody. As long as it doesn't involve you, just redact them. Change the names and
Well, but it kind of involves me a
all
little
right,
bit.
then no. I am not your lawyer yet, but I am going to tell you do not implicate yourself then on the
I won't.
podcast. Plead
I
the
will just
fifth.
say this: if you ever want to know this story, I will give you the Spark Notes version in a way that my lawyer to my right of this podcast, or I guess left technically, will advise me I can share. But until then, I can't. Just know it involves Four Locos, them being banned, and us making a lot of money.
Oh, okay, that's better than I thought it was. I thought you were gonna say so. Like, I watched a friend of mine who this is not illegal, so and I'm not gonna say their name, but like I watched a friend of mine almost jump off a roof on Four Locos.
I
Like,
know,
really,
yeah.
like thought like do some like parkour and like land it when like
This
he would have died, bro.
I had a friend who shotgunned 3 of them, and
Oh
then went to
my
run down the
god,
street, and he
dude,
passed
what?
out and smacked his face off the concrete. Yeah,
I don't know
man, it
how
was
they're 3 is a lot. Like, yo, if you had 2, you were blacked out
shotgunning 1 is a whole level of crazy, but
well, yeah, well, plus the carbonation, like those
yeah,
were in the tall boys.
yeah.
Like that's the thing is they
That's a
weren't even
24 ounce, yeah.
yeah, like that's a lot of liquid in itself.
Um,
I feel
you
like what happened to the Cavs was the equivalent the other day of just like shotgunning 3, 4 locos and running face first into a car.
I too would have to have a loose body removed from my knee if I shotgunned 4
Yeah,
Loko.
I was gonna say, and how's that for our little transition offense game there? But yeah, so we got a double whammy of injuries for the Cavs. Darius Garland out 6 to 8 weeks. He ran into Kristaps Porzingis driving
Oof,
in their game a
broke his
few weeks
jaw.
ago, or about a week ago, and so he broke his jaw. So that's just again really unfortunate. Evan Mobley the same day, like you mentioned, the arthroscopic left knee surgery to remove a loose body, same deal, 6 to 8 weeks. Or I'm sorry, Garland was 4 weeks. Mobley is 6 to 8 weeks. Regardless, though, both of them out. This comes at a time where the Cavs have been, I don't want to say super disappointing, but maybe haven't been what we expected. Like they're sitting at 15 and 12 right now. They're in the 6th seed. So it's not like, and they're half a game behind the Knicks for 5. So it's not like they're super out of anything. I mean, they're not that far behind the Magic or even
They're
the
about
Sixers in the
average.
grand scheme of thing.
They're about
Uh,
average. It really what it comes down to. They're about 500 ball, and you know, I think the part that's the most upsetting is the guys that got injured. We were seeing some good play from, right? Like Mobley was averaging 16 points, 10 rebounds, um, and developing, I guess, in his 3rd season is a way to put it. So I guess that's where the sadness of the injury comes. You're losing 2 guys who are gonna be starters, and you're already kinda thin, more specifically on the point guard side of things. So, like which actually got me looking, by the way, because I was like, "Isn't Ricky Rubio on the team? Like, what is he doing?"
yeah, they're saying he's about to get bought out, right? Or
Yeah.
he's
Well, so the Cavs, from what I was reading, Craig Porter Jr.'s doing nice. He's been a surprise off the bench, so I'll have to do a little more research on him.
Mhm.
But Ricky Rubio's been away from the team to focus on mental health. So I don't really know what's going on there, but the reports have come out recently that they're discussing potentially parting ways. And there seems to be doubt that Rubio is going to come back for an NBA career. Um, I guess this would be technically his 12th season. Um, and obviously had a great career in the NBA, but it seems like the Cavs are kind of like, look, we need this roster spot specifically now because, you know, things are getting tight, injuries are happening, and if someone's out to focus on mental health, you want them to be able to focus on it, but maybe it's one of those situations where like the heart's not in it anymore, like Nick Foles, who's now winning pickleball championships, who retired from the NFL. You know that?
That's a wild I did know that. That's a wild transition. I don't know how you got there, but that and obviously,
Dude, but no, the whole thing is like he retired and you wondered what he found a new passion, and maybe that's what Ricky Rubio needs, you know what I mean?
He found a new passion. My man had tens of millions of dollars in a Super Bowl. What do you mean he found a new passion? He doesn't want to play football anymore.
He's kicking ass at pickleball. The dude's got a new passion. He's out here winning gold championship trophies.
I'm never going to slander Nick Foles. The guy is the only Eagles winning Super Bowl quarterback in history. So like I'm enjoying the transition there.
Yeah, man.
The Cavs, it's been, I mean, they haven't had any consistency. And I think it speaks to the injuries now, but I mean, there have been other guys. I mean, Jared Allen's missed time.
Yep.
And they've just been in slumps. Like Donovan Mitchell's numbers are worse than last year. Garland's numbers pre-injury are worse than last year. And I mean, their offense is ranked at 24th overall right now. At the same time, though, their shot quality, and Fear the Sword had this, their shot quality is they're third in the NBA in terms of generating the overall best shot. So
interesting.
It is sometimes it's just a make or miss league, and sometimes they're just not going in right now. Yeah, they probably, I mean, like if Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland are slumping, they're probably not going to win anything. Like they need those guys to be better. And I guess that's where the disappointment is you think like once they traded for Donovan Mitchell, they just moved their timeline up a little bit. And so this is kind of where you want to see them competing with the top dogs in the Eastern Conference, with the Bostons, with the Milwaukees, with the Phillies of the world, where it's like you can really see, I mean, maybe not with Philly as much, but with the other two, you could see a path to them winning the conference.
Yeah.
And instead you're kind of treading in the same place where you've been. I know the Donovan Mitchell rumors have obviously picked up with Garland hurt and with Mobley hurt. If they go on a longer slump, you feel like they're only going to get louder. The New York team's always a factor there, including Brooklyn, who probably has more assets than the Knicks do if they actually wanted to make a move for him. Miami's the other team that gets floated. I think Miami's going to be in the mix on any superstar that comes available. It's just the question is, do they have enough? It's still going to be a Tyler Hero and picks type package the way it would have been for Dame. Is that enough to pry a Donovan Mitchell? I don't know. But it's kind of tough to evaluate Cleveland so far. And now tougher with the injuries. I know we rip on the Miami Heat players once they leave, how they're never quite.
Yeah.
Max Strus has played some pretty good ball for Cleveland this year. I really think he's opened things up a bit in terms of ball handling as well, like kind of giving that backup. And I think he'll be expected to take a bigger role in that with Garland out. But yeah, I mean, this is definitely there's no way around it. They're gonna have to tread some water here. Not in the worst position in the world, but they're gonna have to stay afloat for at least these next 6 to 8. It's gonna be tough because they're two of the three most important players on this roster you're now out.
And the guys you would want to develop a little bit more and get that chemistry going. But like you mentioned with the Cavs, there was some talk even at the very beginning of the season with Donovan Mitchell maybe wanting to go and move and whatever that ends up being. I just feel like, getting him was like that piece of the puzzle, like turning point for the team. Like, all right, now we're going to make a move. Now we're going to make this run. Let's get better. Let's grow together. Let's make these playoff runs. Let's, in a few years down the line, be a contender here. And now it feels like kind of like the rug's kind of been pulled out from under them in a few different ways, from injuries and potentially players not being happy.
Yeah, in short term, so Dean Wade will start more for Mobley. Tristan Thompson will also probably get some real minutes now. Maybe we'll see them go out and get a big man. He's projected to be back, Mobley, kind of towards February. So that is interesting around the deadline too. Garland will come. I mean, Garland came back in the game when he broke his jaw. Like,
which
that's
is
the
so
thing.
wild to me. I would have been
Yeah.
like, hey, my jaw is not working. I don't want to play basketball.
You're just locked in the zone sometimes, but I mean, at least they'll be able to get him back a little sooner. But yeah, it's going to really be interesting. And like you said, you hope it doesn't skid too hard because that is going to be the one guy to watch, other than the obvious suspects who we talked about in the past, the Zach LaVines of the world, the Pascal Siakams, like the names you expect to come up on the trade market. Like Donovan Mitchell, I think immediately sort of jumps to the top of any list if that happens to come about. Yeah. Welcome everybody to the Driving Dish NBA podcast. My name is Kevin Rafuse. Joining me as always, my co-host Justin Kuzart.
There's a proven link between compassion and bloodlust.
I feel, oh my God. I was so ready to be about to be like, I need the and instead I'm just like, wait, but the bloodlust,
so,
like,
dude, this inspo bot that I use is intense, man. Some of the things it generates is like, I'm not sure what. I think it's just combining things.
Yeah, AI, everything's fine. AI is just sending you quotes about bloodlust, but everything is all right. We're good.
Keep encouraging rich entertainment.
I mean, that one, at least I get a little more.
I don't know. Let's see. Hold on, one more. Increasing crimes collapses increasingly.
Okay, that is something. Leave us a review on iTunes, good or bad. I'll read them on the podcast. If you leave a nice YouTube comment too, we might leave that. But we are anywhere you find a podcast: Google Play Store, Spreaker, Spotify, TuneIn, Amazon Music.
I also want to apologize before I move into my YouTube thing. We had someone say we were such an underrated basketball podcast, yet the first 13 minutes of this podcast, I had the wrong mic plugged in. That's why I suddenly sound better, I'm thinking.
Oh, wait, I don't think it was noticeable. Oh, that's crazy. It wasn't too noticeable in my headphones. So
I noticed it because I muted my mic to cough, and then I saw that audio was still coming up, and I was like, oh no, I have the wrong microphone linked. So if you notice a change, that's what that was. Follow us on
the super professional one too. So
I know. Follow us on. That's like, yeah. Well, we could go into a whole thing of that.
That mic's probably like $1,000 at least.
I mean, the equipment it's all going through has got to be probably $5,000 altogether, if on the low end, honestly. But either way, and that's that. No, I don't own it. It's not me.
I know. Just run with it.
Follow us on YouTube. You can subscribe there. Like we said, later on in the episode, we'll do Immaculate Grid today. And you can follow the video version of that along, and obviously subscribe so that you get more notifications when episodes are coming out.
Now, a word from our sponsors.
So Ja Morant is back, and you know the NBA is pissed that he came out and lit it up first game.
No, wait a minute. You think they're pissed that he lit it up?
You gotta be, right? You want there to be a little bit of a learning curve, a get back into it curve. No, I mean, it's like, damn it, our punishment wasn't good enough.
No way. The NBA loves this. They may not admit it, but they love it. I mean, you got one of your budding young superstars back. He goes out and he lights it up in his first game, hits the game winner.
Yeah.
And honestly, I didn't know what to expect. I kind of had friends for some betting purposes texting me and going, what do you expect on Ja Morant? Like, and I truly said, I'm like, I don't have a read on it because he hasn't played in so long. Like, he's a young superstar. I expect him to go out and play well, but because it's been so many games off, I don't know. Maybe he's rusty a little bit. He didn't look rusty last night.
The one I've been following on, not that we're offering any betting advice. Ja Morant over 4.5 rebounds. Lock it in. Lock it in. I'm just saying. But yeah, man, you talk about in general, obviously the Memphis Grizzlies happy to have Ja back. But from a seasonal standpoint, they are a lot like Cleveland in the similarities of dealing with a ton of injuries, with Marcus Smart out, Luke Kennard out, Derrick Rose sat out for his 11th game last night during Ja's game. And then obviously Steven Adams out, Brandon Clark out for the season. So to equal last season's record, they literally need to go 44-12 for the rest of the season. Not going to happen. Just not going to happen.
I mean, it could in theory. I don't think it's going to, but like that's not impossible. It's not like they need to
in the West though.
I mean, I have to look at their strength of schedule, to be honest, to see what they got. But no, I
Well,
mean, you're right, though. The greater point is that they're sitting at 7-19 right now. They're tied with Portland for the second or worst record in the West. And so they have a lot of gaining ground to do. The good thing is they're weirdly only 6.5 out of it still. So you can climb the ladder here pretty quickly if you start rattling some wins off together and get back and play in position. And like you said, if Ja's, I mean, Ja had 34-8 last night. Like, it was a little slow to start, but he snapped out of it pretty quickly. They're going to get Marcus Smart, who you mentioned, back in about a week. Ideally, like you said, that unlocks Jaren Jackson a little bit more. It takes some of the pressure offensively off Desmond Bane to create. Like, again, the Grizzlies will be better. They have their superstar back. Like, we know that. The bigger question, like you said, is it enough? Is it too late for them to make a charge? I still think it's early. Like, it's December 20th when we're recording this podcast. They have a long way to go, and I think where they may struggle is to get like out of the play-in region, for example. Like, they have a lot. Like, they're a full 9 games behind the Clippers and the Mavericks right now, who are at 5 and 6.
Here's my hot take. So they got to go 44-12 to get their next record, or to match their record from last year.
Yep.
They will get that 12 loss since Ja's back, either February 2nd or February 14th.
Okay.
There you go.
Wow, that is kind of quick. Wow.
Dude, they've got, I mean, those 2 games right there, that's the Warriors or Celtics, so I'm chalking that up for a potential loss. But I mean, in between that time, you play the Kings, who are going to be tough, Pacers, Magic, Timberwolves, Warriors again, Clippers, Mavericks again, Suns, Lakers, Spurs as a win, Raptors as a win, Kings again, Clippers, Nuggets on the 28th of December. Like, it's not going to be easy. I feel like they're probably going to get that 12th loss early February. And I'm not saying that's like a way to judge it, but I think an average NBA fan is going to go, well, their record decreased from last year, so they clearly were worse. Obviously not necessarily the case. Ja Morant just missed 25 games at the beginning of the season.
Well, it's not really good. It's a good thing for Memphis. I'm not trying to word this as a positive thing, but like, that's the other reality is that we haven't mentioned yet, but Phoenix with Bradley Beal, and it's a 2-week setback with the ankle injury, thankfully, is what they're saying. But it's like, again, we finally got Bradley Beal ready to go, making his, playing these early games with Phoenix. And it does. It just puts Phoenix in such a hold if Bradley Beal's not playing. Like, that team doesn't have enough to go far in the playoffs without Beal. They need all 3 of them on the floor. But I mean, they're sitting at 14-13 right now. They just lost to Portland last night. So, I mean, this is the time with Beal out, with there being question marks. Memphis is going to have to turn it up. And they are. They're going to have to. I mean, you mentioned all those tough Western Conference games. They're just going to have to win a bunch of them. Like, there's no way around it. If they're going to make a push this year.
Ja's going to be hungry. He's fresh. He's, slowly ramping it up in theory. And I know, they talked about making sure to monitor his minutes and not overdo it right off the rip, because that would be like worst case scenario is you get hurt. From the other side of this, I mentioned the NBA and them being mad as a joke, but you do go back to what was learned in these 25 games out. Was there realization? Was there therapy or whatever it was? Did something change for Ja Morant? I know people were pointing out that he used words like protecting my peace, which I guess is a big like therapy buzzword. So they were thinking that maybe he had gone to therapy and like is starting to learn how to cope with stresses and deal with situations. Ja Morant mentioned that he talked to Adam Silver and wants to continue to have those conversations and meet with him and continue dialogue. So you hope that's the case, because the more annoying side of this would be if 3 weeks, 4 weeks, a month, whatever it is, the off season, we're right back to where we were and videos are getting posted on social media again.
Yeah, and I mean, that's obviously a wait and see thing. There's not much we can do there. You have to just hope that, again, that's been handled. You hope that he's learned from it and we're going to move on. It's the last time we talk about it.
I hope.
All we can do is wait and see there. There wasn't any like super big red flag or anything like that last night where I was like, look out. But yeah, I mean, only time will tell on that front. But and you hope, again, that's the people around Ja Morant too.
How crazy would it be if Ja Morant's new thing, like he dunks on someone, he turns around, he just goes.
Oh, that'd be insane, dude. It'd be absolutely ridiculous. Like, I think he would borderline get suspended again.
Yeah, right?
Adam Silver would not sit there and just watch him do that. And
dude.
oh, man, no.
Oh, I kind of hope he does it now.
No, you're insane. We can't go for chaos like that. Oh my god.
Oh, either way.
All right, who's balling, who's falling? Our NBA version of the stock market. We always like start with the good for the bad. So Justin, I will start with you this week. Who is balling?
Balling is going to be Steph Curry, specifically after Jaylen Brown did the too small taunt on him. They were up 13 in the third quarter. How have people not realized don't mess with the Warriors in the third quarter? Don't mess with them in the third quarter. Wait a little bit. Curry, before the too small taunt, was 13, 1 and 2 on 4 for 10 shooting, 2 for 6 from 3. He was 3 for 3 from the line, had 5 fouls in 21 minutes. After the too small celebration, which was his 5th foul, he went 22 and 4, 7 for 11 shooting, 4 for 5 from 3, 2 for 2 from the line in 17 straight minutes. That's the fourth quarter and OT, and obviously the Celtics did not win that game.
Yeah, I mean, I would think too that the Celtics would not be the team that would try to poke Steph Curry.
Don't poke the bear, man.
Well, I know the Warriors are down at this point. Like, they're not necessarily the juggernaut when they won the title 2 years ago, but it's like, look, man, Steph had probably his best individual series ever against the Celtics in that finals.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, a massive shot in overtime last night. That's not the guy. I don't care how old Steph Curry gets. Like, that's just one of those guys. Like, I'm gonna stay away from him. Like,
don't poke that dang bear, man. I'll tell you what.
Yeah, like I don't know what we're expecting, but yeah, nothing good will come out of that. All right, balling for me is the Clippers, who are the winners of 8 in a row as of recording this. Have moved all the way up to 6 in the West right now. Those 8 wins: Golden State, Denver, Utah, Portland, Sacramento, Golden State again, the Knicks, and the Pacers. The Pacers, a 151 to 127. Again, defense very, very optional in that game. Harden had 35 the other night against the Pacers. He had 28 against the Warriors a few games ago. So obviously that's been a big story for them, is him getting more acquainted. Kawhi especially has looked phenomenal too over this stretch. Low-key since picking up Daniel Tice too. What a pickup for them, solidifying that interior. Their record with him, I think they're like 15 and 3 or something like that with Daniel. Or I'm sorry, that's a little too much. It was 12 and 3 since going to get Daniel Tice. So I mean, they said, hey, we're going to need time. We're going to need time. The Clippers, and I'm not just saying this because they're tied to them via the Harden trade, but I do think the Clippers are very Sixers-esque in the sense that I think everyone that is rooting for that team is waiting for the playoffs. It's like, look, I love regular season as much as we've seen what this team can do in the regular season. But I mean, this is a team that has the mentality to go home and win a title. But regardless, a lot trending in the right direction. And look, we'd be remiss. It was a pretty rough start for Harden, and we would be, we got to talk about when it goes the other way as well.
Well, and to that, I think a lot of the credit should go to Westbrook, who was willing to start coming off the bench and has talked numerous times about how he's willing to be the one to be the scapegoat, the one to be the person to place blame on. I mean, Westbrook hasn't started a game since, what would that have been? Denver, November 14th, and he's still putting in minutes. I mean, he's averaging somewhere between, it looks like 15 minutes and 25 minutes right now. So he's still playing a lot, but there is, I think a lot of credit should go to Westbrook, who has been willing to be the one to take that step back, quote unquote, so that the chemistry of the team can do better.
Yeah,
it's one of those things where you're not going to get a number on it, right? Like, it's not going to be like, oh, he did this and that, but I mean, you look at it, they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 straight losses until Westbrook moved to the bench. After that, they've gone, if I can pull it up in time, they've gone in 16 games. It looks like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, I mean, they've gone on a nice little winning streak here. You said they got 8 in a row. I mean, even if you take out 3 losses in that, that's crazy. So I think a lot of credit should go to Westbrook, whereas I think people will more focus on like a Harden who's like, oh, look, he's playing better. It's like, right, because Westbrook was willing to step out of the way.
Yeah, and I mean, look, that's a long way. Like we know what the rep was around Russ at one point. Like
Yeah.
I do think that is reflective of the growth we've seen here over the past 2 years. And like you said, helping the team win. Absolutely. I'm with you. He deserves a lot of credit for that. All right. Who is falling for you this week?
Falling for me is going to be Draymond Green. Not to keep harping on him being out, but Klay Thompson has been playing really well since he went out. In the past 4 games, points around 30 points, 24 points, 28 points, 24 points. He's shooting, 40% from 3, 50% from 3, 44 from 3, 66 from 3. Like, I don't know if it's just a coincidence. His minutes per game did go up a bit.
Yeah.
Obviously the Boston game's a little bit of an asterisk because it went into overtime. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if this is like another thing towards the like. I don't know. This kind of saves the Klay Thompson being traded potentially narrative to me, and kind of flips it over to like, do you move on from Dre now? Like you know.
I mean, they signed the extension though with Dre. That's the problem. Is you're tied in financially with Dre. With Klay, the big question is, I mean, it's what's the contract going to be this offseason? So if you're Klay Thompson, yeah, you're trying to prove that I'm not washed here. I want to get paid one more time. So that would be great. And you're right. His numbers have definitely been up since Dre was out. An encouraging sign for that. I mean, you're going to need him if you're going to make a playoff push. You need Klay Thompson to be even 2/3 of what prime Klay Thompson was, and you'll give yourself a shot there. So,
right.
It is definitely an interesting trend to watch with Draymond out. And we'll certainly get. I mean, because when we last talked Draymond, the suspension was indefinite. There's still basically, I think the last report was 3 weeks, right? Like they said he went into therapy, and they're saying 3 weeks minimum. I don't expect him to be back for another 3 weeks. Like, I think it'll go a little bit longer. And I mean, honestly, I think the NBA too, maybe that's post Ja Morant last year, where it was like Ja came back so quick and did the whole like I learned, and then got promptly suspended right away.
It's like you can't want to jump the gun. It's almost like an injury. You don't want to bring them back too early when they're not ready or haven't quote unquote learned their lesson.
Yeah, and so I mean, we'll see what happens on that front, but that is, and it at least for the next contract. I don't think they're going to trade him, but for the next contract, I definitely think that is worth watching for Klay Thompson.
Yeah.
Fallen for me this week, and this is potentially a first. Like, I don't know if this is a thing or not, but is the in-season tournament hangover a thing? Because since the in-season tournament has ended, the Lakers, Pelicans, and Pacers are 2-7. Or all 2-7, I should say. I guess if you're the Celtics, you're one of those Final Four and saying, hey, we're not in this, but all of these teams have slid a little bit. The Lakers are sitting currently at 8 in the West. The Pelicans, half a game above them at 7. The Pacers have dropped all the way down 8 in the East, a game behind Miami and Cleveland for 7 and 6, respectively, a half game up of Brooklyn for 9. So, I mean, for any of these teams, are you buying into a bigger trend here, or is this just kind of a coincidence so far, do you think?
Probably a coincidence because those teams aren't normally ones that we would expect to get wins like that, other than probably the Lakers. But I think we kind of called this when we talked about the in-season tournament winner. Like we recorded like right after they won. And you and I talked about like, is there a lull? Because there's this big buildup, a huge payoff. And now it's like, okay, let's take a breath. Let's get to the holidays. Let's do our thing. So it wouldn't surprise me if that's a thing, and it becomes a talking point with like NBA fans where they don't want their team to be in the tournament now, and it becomes a whole thing. I'm kind of here for it because I like chaos.
Yeah, I mean, when the Lakers had their in-season tournament, the banner ceremony the other night, so I mean, a little more subdued as you could expect.
Yeah.
They're not giving out rings or anything for this, but I think it was fitting. You got to acknowledge it, but I mean, TBD. I don't know how much I'm giving them the in-season, like they got up for it and then are kind of let down.
Yeah.
I don't. Like the Lakers are a tough read. I don't really know what to make of the Lakers so far. They
live and die. They feel like they live and die by Anthony Davis. That's what it is.
Right. The Pacers just don't play defense. Like their offense is so dynamic that for a lot of games it doesn't matter. But the Pacers defense is horrific. Like, for as elite as they are offensively, they're giving it right back on the other end for sure. The Pelicans it's always the Zion question, right? We got to get Zion in shape. Like, I also think I don't want to fully go on a Willie Green tangent because I'm not there yet, but that Memphis game the other night where Ja hit the winner, like, I really thought Willie Green made a few mistakes down the stretch, and that was kind of disappointing to see.
Yeah, there was an article, I forget, I wish I could pull it up quick enough, but I won't find it, talking about the Pelicans and their how many games they've lost from teams that were behind by a good bit. You know, like going into halftime, going into the third quarter, whatever it
There were
was.
24 points going into that game, or in that game.
Second biggest comeback in the NBA this year. So
Yeah, welcome back, John Morant. What a one to come back on. But shall we switch gears a little bit and go right into Immaculate Grid? Let's pull it up. And again, if you're a YouTube watcher, just subscribe to the Driving Dish NBA podcast. For the podcast listeners, we are going to go with our columns first. So from left to right, we've got the Knicks, we've got the Raptors, and we've got All-Star. And for the rows, top to bottom, we got Denver, we've got Brooklyn, and we've got Charlotte. Justin, I know you hovered on it real quick for All-Star. Do they have to be All-Star on that team or just an All-Star in general?
Must have been an All-Star in a season with that team.
Okay, cool. Because that matters for some of the bench players. So
why does Jeremy Lin work for like 4 of these?
He really does. Because Jeremy Lin works for
Raptors,
Knicks.
Hornets,
He
right?
does.
Knicks,
he works for Knicks and Hornets.
Knicks, Nets, Raptors, Nets. He works for 4 of them.
Wow, the grid of Lin.
I wish we could just do all Jeremy Lin. That'd be hilarious.
That would be kind of awesome.
Which one do we want to use him for, or do we not want to use him?
Oh no, we definitely got to use him. He'll be low percentage somewhere. I'm saying don't use him for the Knicks because I think he'll be a higher percentage for the Knicks.
Most people remember him for Knicks. I feel like I remember him most for Knicks and for Raptors.
I would say Raptors and Hornets is probably the lowest there for me.
Okay.
Because he was at the Hornets at the very end of his career, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
You want to hit it?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's lower there.
18%. Wow. Okay.
Man, I want to know what his percentages are everywhere else.
I know, right? Okay.
So let's see. We got Hornets, and I know Hornets and Knicks.
I mean, Carmelo works for Denver and Knicks.
Denver. Yeah, Carmelo definitely works there. There's a bunch though. I mean, Chauncey Billups works there. Wilson Chandler works there.
Knicks, Hornets. One of my favorite guys to talk about on the podcast, Willie Hernangomez.
Not your boy Elfrid Payton, and I am fully down to use Willie Hernangomez there. Because I don't think we've used Willie Hernangomez on an Immaculate Grid so far.
1%, baby.
Nice. Yeah, okay. Good one,
go.
Justin. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
For All-Star, we'll get back to it in a little bit because All-Stars are always easier.
Nets,
for the Hornets, man, I don't know.
No. Wait, Nets, Knicks. Well, Jeremy Lin obviously works. Nerlens Noel works.
Did Nerlens play on the Nets?
I think so, yeah. He went Sixers, OKC, Nets. Did he go Knicks, Nets, or Nets, Knicks? I'm pretty sure he did. I can't remember the order, but I thought he did Nets, Knicks, or Knicks, Nets.
I am not positive at all for or you know what? Maybe was he on the Nets? Maybe recently. I think you're right. Actually, I know he was on the Knicks. I lose track. He was in so many different places.
Yeah.
That I'm not. Yeah, I would say definitely with the Nets there for sure.
You want to try him?
Yeah, absolutely.
Noel. Nerlens Noel, baby. Oh, 0.7.
Wow, that is a great one. Okay, so we got Nuggets and Knicks in top corner. You got Nuggets and Raptors, in Nets and Raptors, and then the All-Stars.
Yeah.
I mean, we have so many for I feel like Wilson Chandler's a good one for Nuggets
Knicks.
and because he was in the Carmelo Anthony trade.
Yeah, you want to hit Wilson?
Yeah, I think Wilson Chandler works.
4%. Good move.
Yeah, 4%. Okay, because I mean, yeah, Melo is the obvious one. I feel like there's some other ones there. I feel like Mozgov worked.
Oh yeah, Mozgov definitely works.
I
Who
mean,
else?
yeah, there's a couple of other ones.
Did he was a Spurs guy, but I think he also went to the Raptors afterwards, and I'm pretty sure he played for the Nets. Marco Bellinelli.
Spurs guy played for the. What did Bellinelli play for the Nets?
I think he did.
He definitely played for the Raptors.
He definitely played for the Raptors. I'm almost positive Bellinelli went to the Nets after the Raptors.
The Nets after the Raptors. I'm trying. He was on the Bulls. He was on the Spurs.
I don't even remember the Bulls. Oh boy.
No, he's
Maybe I'm
definitely.
wrong.
I gotta come back to that one. He was on the Sixers for a little bit.
I'm pretty sure he was on the Nets.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna have to come back. And then Nuggets and Raptors, I'll get back to here in a little bit. I mean, do we want to start working down the All Stars?
DeMarre Carroll.
Oh, for the Nuggets?
Yeah, right.
I think DeMarre Carroll works for the Nets and the Raptors. I think. Did he play for the Nuggets?
I thought he played for the Nuggets, but you're definitely right. Like I know he was on the Nets because he was wasn't he LeBron James stopper on the Nets at that point?
He was on the Hawks. He was on the Hawks.
That was it. Yeah,
James
Hawks.
stopper.
Oh man.
Yeah, I would.
I think Carroll works for both.
I feel safer with the Nets and the Raptors. The Nets and the Raptors.
You know, well, you know what else? I Thad Young definitely played Nets Raptors.
Thad Young did play Nets Raptors. You're right. Thad Young okay. That's so man. Who do we think is lower?
I don't know. I feel like Thad Young might be. Well, DeMarre Carroll is maybe sooner, but they're probably the same time, aren't they?
Yeah. I mean, relatively, I think. I mean, DeMarre Carroll, I think will be lower.
DeMarre, you want to go Carroll?
I think so. Yeah, because I don't think people really remember him on the Nets either. Like that.
How's he spelled? CARR?
RROL. Yeah.
All right, DeMarre Carroll locked in at 4% for Nets Raptors. So the last team combo that we need is Knicks. No, not Knicks. Oh my gosh.
Nuggets.
Nuggets Raptors. Nuggets Raptors.
Okay. So to recap for the podcast listeners, we're halfway through Immaculate Grid. We've got for the Nuggets and Knicks, we got Wilson Chandler. For the Nets and Knicks, we got Nerlens Noel. For the Nets and Raptors, we got DeMarre Carroll. For the Hornets and Knicks, we got Willy Hernangomez. And for the Hornets and Raptors, we got Jeremy Lin.
Danny Green?
No, I don't think Danny Green played for Denver.
No, he was on the Raptors. I'm just going through those guys that
I know the obvious ones. No, I'll come back to that. There's somebody on the tip of my tongue. I don't know why I'm blanking on it right now. For All-Stars, I mean, there's some obvious ones. There's Jokic.
Do you think Allen Iverson was an All-Star the years he was with the Nuggets?
Yeah, I think Iverson was definitely an All-Star the year he was with the Nuggets.
I bet that would be pretty low.
I think he'll be lower, yeah, because I mean the All-Stars I can think of are Jokic and Murray. Carmelo Anthony is the other obvious one. I think I think Iverson is definitely lower. I mean, because he was an All-Star, like he was a legend by that point, and he was still scoring a bunch of points. So Iverson was definitely an All-Star for the Nuggets.
Okay, 7%. Good. That's a good one.
I mean, obviously associated most with the Sixers.
Yeah.
Brooklyn, there's Brooklyn, because you've got Garnett was probably an All-Star there. I think he was. Jason Kidd is the obvious one. I think Stephon Marbury is one.
Darren Williams, do you think he was?
Yeah, I would think Darren Williams was one there. Joe Johnson is one there.
Joe Johnson's a good one.
I'm like trying to think of like, I don't think Richard Jefferson was there. I'm trying to, because they made the title or they made the finals back-to-back years.
Did Spencer Dinwiddie, was he?
No, he was an All-Star good. Dinwiddie had a great year there, but he was nowhere near All-Star good. I would think I'm trying to D Willard, because KG, I feel like people love KG. I feel like he'll be popular. Darren Williams, he may be low though. I could see Darren Williams being there.
Darren Williams, you want to go, Darren?
Yeah, because I mean, the first year for sure he had to be. Like when he moved over to the Eastern Conference, I feel like he had to be there. Because All-Star's lower than All-NBA, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
5%.
That would have
Hell
been.
yeah.
I would have truly been surprised if he wasn't.
I feel like Kemba Walker obviously works for All-Star.
Yeah, Kemba's the
Hornets.
obvious one for the Hornets.
Oh my gosh, what's his name?
LaMelo Ball.
No. Well, also LaMelo. No, Gordon Hayward.
Oh, not with the Hornets.
Not
No,
with the
no way.
Hornets, you don't think?
No, definitely not.
Okay.
Gordon Hayward's been kind of a shell of himself since Boston.
Yeah, but wasn't he? Where was he before? Oh, he was with the Jazz, right? Where was he?
No, he's a Utah. Yeah, Utah.
Yeah, Utah. Okay, that's I was getting them.
No,
mixed
yeah,
up.
he would have 100% been with Utah.
Yeah, you're right. Batum?
No way, Justin. Batum was never an All-Star.
All right. Should we just go Kemba then? Like chalk it up?
Yeah, I mean Kemba's a safe one. Like I mean Baron Davis might have been back in the day. I just don't know enough to like. I don't want to blow the streak. Kemba's the chalky one.
All right, Kemba it is. Only 20%, honestly.
That's sort of surprising.
All right, Raptors, Nuggets.
Okay, so for Nuggets, Raptors, oh man.
Luis Scola, I don't think he was on the Nuggets.
No, I'm trying to. Why do I feel like Wilson Chandler might have worked there too? Maybe we should have saved him.
Missed our shot, yeah.
I don't think. I mean, Jeff Green was on the Nuggets. I don't think he was on the Nets.
Danny Green was on the Raptors, but not on.
Yeah, Danny Green was on the Nuggets. Did Paul Millsap ever go to Toronto?
Ooh, I don't think so.
I'm trying to remember.
Did Thad Young ever end up in Denver? Because we had him for Nuggets for Nets Raptors. I don't think he ever did.
No, I don't think he did. Paul Millsap was in Brooklyn. That's where he was. So Paul Millsap would have worked for Brooklyn, Denver, but that doesn't really help anybody.
No.
Oh man, nobody. I'm trying to think of like JaMychal Green wasn't. I don't think Kenyon Martin was ever.
What about the Kawhi winning year?
Well, that's what I'm trying to go through, but like all their guys, like Van Vliet's only been in Houston and Toronto. Siakam's only been in Toronto.
Kawhi obviously didn't go to Denver.
Yeah, Vince Carter's never been in Denver. Tracy McGrady was never in Denver.
Birdman ever made it to Toronto? I feel like I know nothing about Toronto now.
I feel like I know their players. It's just not enough to like. I don't know. Like Del Curry, Steph Stad was in Toronto, but not there. Man. Oh my God. I'm trying to like run through Denver guys like the Mozgovs of the world and like Kenneth Faried. I don't think Andre Miller was in Toronto. I know he saved us last time, but I don't think he was in Toronto.
What about like throwback guys? I don't know. You're better at the older guys than me.
I know. That's what I'm trying to think of right now. Man. This is tough. This is a tough one.
I don't know. I don't got it, man. I don't. My brain's too fuzzy right now with the sickness. I'm not going to be able to close this one out with you.
I'm trying to pull one out for you. I'm trying to think of like.
I just keep thinking of Damari Carroll, which I know we already used.
I have one, and I know he was in Denver. I think he might have been. I don't know if he was drafted by Toronto, but I think there was a shot. He was there early in his career, and I think it might be my turn to pull up and do a Hail Mary.
Okay. Listen, it
think
worked. It
Marcus-
worked for the Browns.
I think Marcus Camby works.
Oh,
I
God.
know it works for Denver. Center, great rebounder.
I was gonna say, I'll be honest, I don't even remember Marcus Camby on either of the teams.
Oh, I know
So
he's
bad.
no. I know for a fact he was on Denver. I know he was on Denver.
Okay.
I am 100% about half of this equation. I know he was on Portland. There was somebody else who I swore he was on. But yeah,
Cameron Payne, does he work? Just because he's
No,
up here
no
when I
way.
pulled up Camby. Cameron Johnson, Tony Campbell. No.
No, I wish. God, I don't know. I have nobody else, so like this is kind of where I'm at. I feel campaign is funny, but no, I'm okay. Like I said, I feel good enough about Denver.
All right, Cam Reddish. All right, you ready?
Yeah, let's do this.
Oh, 3, 2, 1.
Yes.
Yeah, 96
Oh,
rarity score under
baby.
a hundo.
Ooh, okay. I'm pumped. I pulled that out. I'm not gonna
Damn,
lie.
only
31.
only 8 All-Stars for the Hornets.
Dude, I believe it. Honestly, like Baron Davis was second in mine there, so I'm curious who pops up.
It was Glenn Rice, Larry Johnson, Alonzo Mourning, Eddie Jones, Baron Davis, Jared Wallace, Kemba Walker, LaMelo.
Okay. Yeah. So I knew LaMelo. LaMelo was the other obvious one.
Yeah.
Glenn Rice is a good one. Glenn Rice was really good on NBA Jam. Good throwback player for the 90s.
Yeah.
Okay. So Brooklyn, Denver. So can you go to Denver? Well, actually, yeah. Let's go down here. Oh, Marcus Camby is the most popular. Wow, I thought I had an original idea. Let's scroll down. All right. So for Knicks and Denver, it was Carmelo
Vince
Anthony.
Carter.
It was Marcus Camby for Nuggets and Raptors. Jokic for All-Star for the Nuggets. For Nets All-Star, Kevin Durant. Vince Carter for Nets and Raptors. Probably not surprised there. Jason Kidd for Nets and Knicks. I forgot Kidd was on the Knicks. Kemba for Knicks and Hornets. That does work as well. I forgot about that. Bismack Biyombo for Raptors and Hornets. And LaMelo Ball for All-Star and Hornets. So
Interesting.
I think who do we have? I don't think any of ours were the most popular other than Marcus Camby.
Yeah,
which,
other than Camby.
Who else works for Nuggets and Raptors? I'm curious about that one.
31 options. Chauncey Billups, Mark Jackson, Jalen Rose, Marcus Camby, DJ Augustine would be like the most recent. Will Barton. Damari Carroll does work.
Okay. Oh, DeMarre Carroll did work. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know he played for Denver.
Yeah, he did. Oh my God, he would have been so low.
Oh.
He played 4 games for the Nuggets in 2012. Oh my God, he would have been so low.
Oh my God. Yeah,
Holy moly.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, I didn't really. Wow. 4 games. Wow. I did not know that. What year was that?
2012.
There we go. Okay. I learned something
Gary
tonight.
Forbes would have worked. Sonny Weems, Anthony Carter, Reggie Evans. See if any other names kind of stick out to me. Chauncey Billups already said. Mark Jackson already said. Aaron Williams, Jalen Rose. That's kind of it. Reggie Slater.
Yeah, I mean, hey, you learn something new every day on the Drive and Dish NBA podcast. Thank you, everybody. Actually, you know what? Let me run our grid one last time. So we got Knicks and Nuggets. We got Wilson Chandler, Raptors and Nuggets, Marcus Camby, Nuggets All-Star, Allen Iverson, Nets All-Star, Darren Williams, for Nets and Raptors, Damari Carroll, for Nets and Knicks, Nerlens Noel, for Hornets and Knicks, Willie Hernan-Gomez, for Hornets and Raptors, Jeremy Lin, and for Hornets All-Star, Kemba Walker. Thank you, everybody, for listening to this episode of Drive and Dish NBA podcast. Appreciate you guys, as always. Leave us a review on iTunes, good or bad. I'll read them on the podcast. If you're not an Apple user, Google Play Store, Spreaker, Spotify, TuneIn, Amazon Music, anywhere you can find a podcast, you can find us.
And we are on YouTube. You can follow us there for the video version of the podcast. Everything is recorded with cameras on, so you can see us if you really feel inclined to do that. Just search Drive and Dish NBA podcast, hit subscribe. That way you get a notification when new episodes are coming out.